Welcome to day 255 of the 300 movie challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of August 2015, which was Straight Outta Compton.
I guess before we start this, me and I had very vastly different expectations going into the
Oh yeah, I didn't look at the summary or anything. I didn't know anything about like this movie at all.
same.
So
Yeah.
when I heard the title Straight Outta Compton, I thought it was a rom-com set in the South.
Oh my god.
So
Good job.
it was not that.
I was a little bit better. I thought it was just a straight up comedy, so I thought it would be more like Inglorious Bastards-esque, and it's like dark comedy kind of thing.
Mm.
So that was kind of what I thought, because I thought Compton was like either like a military thing or something, which I don't know why. How could well, I guess in the beginning of the movie, Balin, you thought they actually meant Camden.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
okay, the thing is, I knew the base premise of this, and so I really shouldn't, when I was thinking back, I was like, wait, I'm kind of an idiot, I should have realized this. But for some reason, I got Compton and Camden confused. So, yeah, good on me, but whatever.
We're not in New Jersey, we're in California.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, which again makes a lot more sense based on what's going on. So yeah, I knew that this was like a true-ish story on like the NWA rapper guys. And I knew that people liked it, but that's pretty much all I knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did look into some things, and so Dre and Ice Cube were both involved in the production of this. In fact, Ice Cube's son actually played him in
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah,
Um,
I also looked that up too.
yeah.
And then Eazy-E's wife is
Yes.
also a producer,
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I found I didn't realize that until the end, and I was like, oh my god, that's actually really sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now, none of us know this culture
No.
No,
at
we're
all.
we're not in the gangster rap scene.
I mean, could have fooled me. I don't know, my.
Especially with Katniss Everdeen.
Fuck Katniss Everdeen. I can make a rap about it now.
Like,
I thought you were all. I mean, we have Sora for our Snoop Dogg, so you know.
Dog.
But anyway, so that you know, it automatically, at least for me, created like a disconnect in terms of
it did.
Yeah.
I was really trying to like put myself like in these characters like mindset, these people's mindset, and I just couldn't for like most of the movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the thing
I
is,
mean-
what's nice is that the movie doesn't like, especially considering, you know, who worked on this movie, it doesn't like pretend that these guys were like perfect people that they were totally innocent,
Yeah,
they were just
definitely.
screwed by the system or whatever. And it's like, no, they did not do good things all the time.
Yeah.
So I did get that balance, and really the only people who you could really say was like portrayed as like purely negatively would be like, I guess, the cops, which like that kind of makes sense. But pretty much
And
everyone
I mean,
else, there's good and
given
bad stuff
what
about
was
them.
going on at the time and everything too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, but yeah, it's really hard because again, I know that like there's all the environmental factors and the societal factors of that neighborhood and location and how that translates into behavior and like all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I just can't put myself in there, and it's like I feel disconnected and I feel like this is not how it should be, but like that's kind of the point, that this is not how it should be, but at the same time that's how it is. So it's just like, it's this weird, you know, you kind of get what I'm saying in terms of like
Yeah.
how you feel about, yeah. So
Where it's like you understand to an extent, but it's still a little bit hard at the same time to understand it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a nuance that people who grow up in that environment will latch onto a lot better, but it's kind of like we are very lucky that we don't have to grow up in that kind of environment.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of like the sentiment. It's like we can't understand because we haven't gone through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I assume, again, since, again, the people who made this movie, I assume that it's not like they portrayed it, like, bad on purpose or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? If they were to have it be... Again, if anything, you would think they would kind of glorify it, and they don't. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
I think that was really good on them, though, to portray
They handled the material very well, and I think it felt believable. Like I didn't have any doubt at any point that something was like untrue about how they portrayed it.
Yeah.
So
and in that sense, it kind of reminds me of The Social Network, where, like, again, you have these group of people doing this thing that ends up getting them very famous very quickly, and they're not really prepared to deal with that. And, again, it's a kind of culture that we're not really familiar with, and therefore it creates some of a disconnect. But to me, I would say it's easier to understand and follow the motivations and what's going on in The Social Network. That doesn't mean I think it's like good motivations and good stuff. I'm just saying it's easier for me to understand that mentality. So, and also I just think the story itself is a little bit more interesting in The Social Network. So I do like I personally like The Social Network more, but I could see like someone else going the other way for this.
I would be the opposite.
Yeah.
I think I'm the opposite too.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly how I feel about this yet. It is positive to some degree, but I'm not exactly sure what.
I think for me, the part that got me the most was actually the ending.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the ending is something that I could like finally connect with and stuff.
Yeah,
where
definitely.
It's like when he collapsed and you just saw him start to like with the doctor and everything, and you're just like, oh my god, like. If I was in that situation, I probably would act exactly the same way too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And everything. And then you'd like think back to how everything else was in the film, and you're like, he really had a lot of things that he wanted to do and everything.
Yeah.
And he never really got to do that. And that kind of... I think the fact that they ended the film on that made it like really impactful and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like the ending the most. Yeah, there were parts of the film, like, especially, not, like, early, but, like, for a while I was thinking, am I gonna put this, like, mixed? But definitely now I'm like, more positive on it in the ending, and also you do, as it goes forth, you do kind of follow the characters more, especially kind of earlier on, or, like, when they first get big, it definitely does kind of fall under the, like, they just kind of seem like jackasses, but it's like, again, that's kind of the point of what was going on, right? So I get it. It's just, again, it's that connection and understanding that. So it's kind of way to connect to this. It's kind of similar to the whole like Tony Stark and Iron Man 2 thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Where it's like they're not doing good things. They're not doing good things. The movie knows they're not doing good things. But they're still not doing the good things. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's this kind of, but this isn't as much of as muddled as Iron Man 2 was. And yeah, so it's definitely, if you haven't seen this and you're like interested like at all, I'd say go ahead and watch it.
Yeah, like the way I kind of viewed it was, so it is like how this group like came to be, and in particular how we kind of follow Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and Eazy-E. And I think at some point when we started to follow Ice Cube like breaking away from the group, I think that's when I kind of started to like get more invested, because I guess the thing is that I was viewing this more as not like a character study, but I guess like a study of how someone grows. So that's how I kind of watched it. I watched it as we get established with these people. We have seen Ice Cube in movies at this point.
Oh yeah, sure.
Right.
You know who Dr. Dre is because of like his headphones and stuff, but beyond that, I don't think any of us know much about their music or their careers.
No, I mean,
So-
I knew the most cursory thing about it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
So I kind of was like, this is kind of like they are the producers, so it's like they're telling their stories to people who might not know it. And I kind of looked at it as like maybe I was reading a biography, but a bit more cinematic. And there were some like certain struggles that I could identify with, like all the stuff with like, I don't want to get too like into my work life, but the stuff with the weird contract situation, maybe that's what got me.
Yeah, actually, from what I know, that makes sense.
I got super invested in Ice Cube for a while, and then when Dr. Dre left, then I was like, oh, okay, so he kind of saw the same problems, and then it was just interesting seeing how they started off as this group of like, I guess just like dumb teenagers or dumb young people, and then these three in particular, they started to mature at different rates, and then they took different paths.
Yeah.
But another
Yes, apparently.
and then another scene, like a really early scene actually, that resonated with me, not like because I could relate to it, but because it's so ingrained into our culture right now, was when they were outside of Jerry Heller's like office or something, and the police came. They're harassing them, and I couldn't get over the fact that one of the cops was also black, but he was talking down to them the same way as the white cops. And I was just like, wow, this is like probably the 1990s or something, but it's so it's like it got taken off of a news broadcast, and I was like, wow, I guess not much has really changed then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I viewed it.
Yeah, going back to the contract thing, it's interesting though, because like Jerry's not like a terrible person.
Yeah.
No.
Right, because again, they could have really made it where like he was a total scumbag and did nothing, but like, you know, he stood up for them like with the cops, right? And some other stuff. So it's interesting how they work with that. But so it's interesting because the whole like this general kind of story of like basically like teenagers, you know, making it super big out of nowhere through music and getting like, you know, super insane into like drugs and all that stuff, and like going kind of crazy, and usually having some sort of like label person kind of take advantage of them. Like that general story is like incredibly common. I was watching a couple videos on some like metal, like new metal kind of stuff, like about like Korn and what was the other one? Korn and Slipknot, like early in their formation, and like the stuff they went through. And again, it's the kind of same story.
Oh wow.
If anything, it's worse for them because there was a lot of like suicidal tendencies and even attempts that happened between several people. So yeah. But and then also it's interesting because like I kind of recently in the last few months have started kind of lurking and posting a little bit on the metalcore subreddit, and you know, it's kind of a smaller like genre of metal stuff, and there's also similar stories coming out of like, labels screwing bands out of money and like other things, and it's just like, is this just like literally everywhere? Okay. So
it doesn't matter if you're rap,
no.
metalcore, country, I guess.
Country.
Fucking country.
That was like the most out there thing I could think of.
Well, again, I know there's others too. I mean, wasn't there like, who was it? Was it Kesha who had like a bunch of issues with that?
Yeah, she had slightly different issues with like rape and stuff.
Right. It was like literally, the producer? Somebody was like actually like. Yeah. But again,
with the contract and everything, and she basically had to like sell an image.
Yeah.
Well, he forced her to sell an image.
Yeah. So, but I guess one thing that I can at least kind of point to in terms of like the music, because again, I'm not, into this kind of music, and I always try to figure out like why, like what is it specifically about like any kind of music where I don't like it, and I think the main reason for me here is it's twofold. One is that I find it extremely repetitive. I want at least some variation, especially in terms of like the backing track and stuff like that. And then the other is that I just find for most people the rapping is like doesn't really have a lot of energy and emotion to it. It feels just kind of flat. So like people talk about like the lyric flow or whatever, and it's like, but he doesn't like sound like excited or like powerful in doing it. And that's why like actually I kind of like Ice Cube, because he actually does have that like passion in his voice. He does kind of like almost like yelling. Right. He like kind of yells at your face, right? And like I kind of like that in a sense, because it actually like it works better. It shows that like to me it's like, oh, he really gives a shit, and I'm not saying the other guys don't, but I'm just like, that's how it comes off to me, right? So
I guess maybe he's just a better performer. I don't know.
Maybe, I have no idea.
Yeah, because it's kind of funny. Like, there's been a couple times where, some bands I follow, they do some interesting things, and there's a couple times where they have like people do like brief like rap things in the songs, and usually I really like them. So it's just kind of, and again, I think it's mostly just because people who do like metal vocals are very yelling in your face. So it's like that again. It's that sort of like power behind it, and it's just, I don't know, I find it more engaging. I don't know. But the best thing I can think of is this is off the top of my head, the band I Valiance, which is like kind of ridiculous deathcore into the point where like half of it sounds like freaking weird like circus music. But anyway,
what?
It's very weird. But and they have their vocalist who is like, if anyone following this knows, it's Mark Foyda, who also is in Aversion's Crown, which is again like ridiculously heavy. He does like a rapping verse in the little like interlude that's what's it called? Three Daggers, I think. And again, it's like really good for like what it is, because it's like not what you'd expect at all, because this is the guy who's again does like insanely like deathcore like growls and screams and shit, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just weird. But anyway, that's and I feel like let's see, I know Ice Cube was actually on a Korn song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like he's been in something else too that I've heard, but I can't remember. So, I don't know. He's one of a few like rap artists who I've kind of seen like intermingling a little bit with some metal stuff. I know Tech Nine does a little bit too. He's kind of a different style, but yeah, I don't know. Whatever. There's my totally valid and important contribution to the music discussion for this. All of my great experience.
I can't really.
I figure we might as well let someone mention something about it. So
yeah,
yeah,
good.
You're probably the best bet, since I mean, for me, it was just like, it was there for the immersion, but I am one of those like soft bitches who can't handle so much swearing in a song.
Oh.
I'm also said person where, yeah.
Oh wow, you're such a special snowflake. You defended over everything.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Is this the best movie we've seen of the year so far?
What hell? What
Oh,
else
wait.
have we?
Okay, we've seen the other like good ones. I would say are like Cinderella and Ultron.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, that's it. What?
Yeah, everything else has been pretty bad.
Kind of missed last year.
Yeah, last year was good. This one's not. I would put Ultron higher. I'm not. I think I would put this one second though.
Yeah, I would put it second.
Yeah.
I totally when I said, "Is this the best of the year?" When I said that, I literally forgot that we saw Ultron. Again, I like Ultron, but it's not super memorable. Yeah, besides that, in Cinderella, and then everything else. What did we even see? Oh my. Well, okay, we probably shouldn't go over this since we're not to the end of the year.
Everything else will
You'll see later.
Yeah.
in approximately how many movies? Wait, this is
2, 3,
what
4.
month was this again?
This is August.
So 4
Oh,
more
it's August. Oh, wait, August, September, October.
Four
videos.
more.
Videos.
4 more days.
Then again, that movie at the end of the year, I have a feeling that discussion might literally be over an hour long. So.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, boy.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Well, okay. Next one though is a sequel to something that we saw a bit ago that
was okay.
we thought was all right. And
Actually?
I saw again. It was one that it was original that I had seen before, and I thought it was all right. And we saw it again, and I thought it was all right. This I have no idea about. I don't even really know what people think about it. So, I mean, I would tend to say that usually sequels to these types of movies are not as good, but
They're bleh, if you will.
oh, you're funny.
Oh.
Bleh.
But
Oh.
that's it, really. So hopefully it's at least okay. At this rate, even if it's okay, it's the better half of the year.
That's so sad.
Yeah, especially in a year that had $4 billion+ movies. One of them was the one we saw last month. Oh god.
Yeah, of those 4, only one was good.
Yeah.
Even then, it's second place. Or no, it's first place. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I guess that's it for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see you in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.